so easily.
Yeah.
You know, whereas if you're a fucking drug addict anyway or whatever in your head, then fuck it, I'll be a flat earther. Much better. And it is, you're going to get down the path of truth, you know. But if you've got all of that status to lose,
yeah, it's
people can't go there. I think there's a lot of secret flat earthers that would have watched the videos, just kept it to themselves more or less. I reckon there must be millions of those.
I was just going to say, I think I had an encounter with one of those yesterday. Someone that knew that has to keep it to themselves, that tried to let me know they know. Oh, it was all encoded speech and eye contact, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I can't really talk about the situation I was in on air.
Sure.
It was a very yeah, it's a strange one. How do you let people know that you don't see the world the way that you think everybody else views the world? And like, how do you pick the moments? Because in the beginning, when I was just an idiot, I was just shouting it from the rooftops, and everybody already thought I was mental anyway, because they're like, oh, Zanny's just took too many drugs, bless her, pat her on the back. So I had to learn, like, to just like rein it in and go off my intuition and not just be so excited about things all the time.
Yeah. I've had to learn to keep my mouth shut in many situations.
It's usually that's such it is usually the best way.
But if it comes in naturally, it'll come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not like scared of bringing it up, but if someone says something about something, and it's interesting. Yeah, everything's just insane now. How are you supposed to have a normal day job doing anything normal anymore?
Oh no.
Without feeling like you're just stuck in a false reality.
Yeah, it's really difficult because I think I'm not a very good housewife anyway, and I think that there's certain people in my family that think I should be at work, and it makes me feel really uncomfortable. They don't say it out loud, but they make me feel it,
Yeah. There are still noble jobs to do. Service to the community, pretty good, fine thing to do. If you can get away without doing it, it'd be great.
Yeah. And it'd be really great if people stop making you feel so shit about it as well.
Yeah, people are just weird, aren't they?
So, if that stems from a place of jealousy or a place of not understanding, or of an actual place of anger where they feel that somebody like me isn't contributing to society in any effective way.
It's fear, isn't it?
You think fear? Yeah.
The bottom of it all, yeah. Yeah. Fear that they've wasted their whole lives working in a shit job.
Sorry, I keep jumping in on top of you. I think we're on a time delay.
Yeah, we are.
We are. We're at different spaces in space and time, so there's going to be a slight delay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's never quite got as good as that moon phone call.
That was epic.
That was good, yeah.
This is your president. I'm calling you from the Oval Room in the White House. That was ace.
On the line that we like cabled out a line.
They were sending messages backwards and forwards on it.
They had two little cups on either side, and they could just like, whisper it in.
I was just thinking the same thing. Excuse me. Yeah, but can you imagine like having a TV on that day and thinking that those people were on the moon? How entertaining would that be, you know? And, but I mean, the word entertainment in itself is quite a dark word, because I heard someone describe it as to be detained while something enters you. So basically,
ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and so basically everyone was
That's exactly what,
with the false reality that day.
that's exactly what I was saying the other day. Is that it's all a show. They're showmen and showwomen, and it's a show. They put on shows. And the Globe was a show, and all the trannies are a show, and everything's a show. You know, and that's how it's through the entertainment industry. Like it is. Science is a show. Everything's just a show, and books, cartoons, every single bit of it. And then false psychology, people going around pretending to be someone at work when they're not. They're putting on a show. Everyone has to put on a show every day for fucking whatever. And it's all this acting, singing and dancing. That's how Illuminati's push their fucking boat through the TV and the films and the show. And as long as everyone's got a good enough show and entertained enough, then they can say what they like, it seems. No one looks it up.
Literally what they like. Do you know what I really enjoyed this week, talking of entertainment? That space probe suicide mission. Did you hear about that? This
say that again?
This space probe, I can't even remember what planet it was supposed to be at now, but it did a suicide mission into the atmosphere of the planet.
Yeah, I did read that. Yeah.
We got to see it, you know, inch by inch as it fell to its death. I thought that was fantastic.
That Cassini crashing into Saturn, I think. Yeah, that was jokes as fuck, wasn't it? Yeah, well, I thought we'd just crash land it into the planet. Yeah, it's a pretty cool spaceship, like, but I wonder what it would look like if it crashed and burned. This will blow it up, boys.
Do you know what I want to know? I want to know when they're going to crash and burn the ISS.
Oh, mate. Yeah, that'll have to come down. It'll get hit by a stone so they don't have to carry on putting on that stupid show.
That fucking circus act. Excuse my French.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
Yeah, no, I do find a lot of it very comical, but you have to, because if you didn't, you could wind up heavily depressed by it all.
Yeah, I think that's the sort of inevitable part of the path, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you get a bit upset, really.
Do you know what else I find funny? I'll just show the camera. This is a box of tobacco, what we buy here in the UK, and they put these death pictures on them.
Yeah.
I find them hilarious.
Well, yeah.
It just makes me want to stop.
It makes you want to what?
Like, as if it's going to stop me smoking, for one. And I just find that, like, every single, they're not allowed to advertise cigarettes. All cigarettes have to come in the same looking packet, and they all have to have messages of death on them. Enjoy your day.
It's just a show again, isn't it?
So, well, I've been thinking about that a lot with it just being all a big show and this whole pantomime they do on television with the, you know, the train bombings and people's shoes being blown off. And I'm wondering if everyone's actors, then what's my part? You know, like, where's my script at?
Make it up.
Well, I've been kind of winging it for a while now.
Get on stage with a mic.
I might do a mic.
I'll be back one day. I did one stand-up comic performance once, but that was before Flat Earth.
Yeah,
I still haven't got on stage and smash Flat Earth to an audience. It would be funny.
You're the second person this week that's told me they want to do Flat Earth stand-up.
Yeah, it's got to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
One friend told me they want to do stand-up of Stephen Hawking's. And I thought that was hilarious. Especially as he can't stand up, you know.
That video from a couple of years ago I watched. He can't stand up and float around.
Oh yeah! Did you see when they took him in the vomit comic? They took Stephen Hawking's, this poor little man that's got no say in anything he does, and span him around on the vomit comic, like throwing him to each other. I mean, that's got to be abuse at the very least.
He had a big fake smile on his face. Everything was alright.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me started on Stephen Hawking's.
Well, you made that video. I watched it today. That was great.
I've been on so many videos slating Stephen Hawking's. It could be seen as bullying.
Well, it's a combination of actors, isn't it? So it's not really the same as bullying.
Comedy as actors, that's it, exactly. But I could do a whole video. I'm going to make the title "Hate Speech" or comedy. Now, I don't know. It's not hate speech, is it?
No, it's just fucking ridiculous.
He's got the most intelligent cheek muscle in the universe. It's amazing, really, when you think about it.
Those teeth coming and going, fucking hilarious. How no one noticed that?
Yeah, I wish my teeth would grow back. That would be handy.
So you reckon you're going to get the balloon up this weekend then? With the fuckers?
Well, you know what?
It's going to happen. Finally.
Psychic was sending that balloon up at Derby. So I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to give it 100%. That balloon is getting launched in Derby this weekend.
Nice.
I'm putting my psychic powers to the test now. I've never done this before. I usually just do it after the effect and say, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen." But then nobody believes you. But no, I don't know if I'm just eternally optimistic or if I'm actually, you know, being a bit psychic.
Those powers are within us, I'm sure. It's just we're clogged up with mucus and free radicals and fuck knows what since we're 2 years old. So, like, we haven't got feral powers, you know. Like a gorilla is just eating like fruits and berries his whole life, hanging out in the jungle. He can probably sense things, you know. Why would we be any less? We'd only be more, you know, whatever the humans got special about it. Just hanging out in the woods with fruits and berries, drinking pure waters, you know, we'd have it all. But we've been clogged up.
Yeah, what kind of stuff is fucking us up with?
everything we've ever eaten, more or less, and then all the smoking and drinking as well, and then all the shit in the tap water, and that'll do you. Everything you've ever eaten and drunk, none of it's really impure unless you're on the fruit or like the weed. Obviously these days, you know, but no one I've ever known has distilled their water, you know, until a couple of years ago or a few years ago. So
yeah,
there's nothing, there's no clean charge. You know, it's only the air that's cleaning people out then with the lungs and that, but they're not taking any waters in to clean out either. So it's just clogging up and dying early all over the place for different reasons. No one knows what's going on really.
Yeah, and we have this silly life expectancy of like, I don't know what the life expectancy is, but I'm just wondering why we have an expectancy of a life. You know, like, why should it be only so long? If you get me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of controversial documents in that area saying people used to live a lot longer.
I think they did. I remember they did. I mean, I don't even think that this is old, but my great-grand and granddad both died in the late 90s. But I think we should be living well beyond that.
I think we could be.
Yeah.
I'd have to change my habits if I was shooting for 150, you know what I mean? My habits may well change, but at the moment, they're not that different to the next man. So, you know, apart from litres and litres of golden fluids, help me out. I'm still like on the pies and chips, really. So it's like, it's so weird. It's so weird when you come off of that, even for a few days. You feel so different. It's like you just don't fit in the square boxes of a town and city and a job anymore. That's how it felt to me.
No.
It's almost like food brings you down into this reality so that you can actually function within it with all the other people that are also eating on that same kind of vibration. And to be able to go in and out, you know, if you're on a completely different fucking vibe, just on fruits and waters, the body, you'd be super healthy, but in your head, you just want to be out in the woods doing something else. So it's really hard to like, I don't know what the fuck to think.
It's true. It's true. When
you just got to go with that, you know.
Yeah, when I've taken certain poisons, because I won't go into detail, but I feel invisible and I can go about my business like virtually invisible. People do not see me. I know they don't. But when I've been on the urine therapy, I'm glowing, and everybody noticed me. Not that I want to be noticed, because I do like to fly under the radar a little bit, but it's just like,
yeah, that's true.
It's a different force of energy, and it radiates from you, in my opinion and experience, anyway.
It sure does. You know what I've been noticing? The fuckers group, healthier and healthier.
What a positive thing, really.
Yeah, and everyone's like walking around barefoot. Or distilling their water at home with machines. And it works, like actually just works visibly, repeatedly. Fucking ridiculous. All the simple stuff.
Actually scientific.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about some real science here, like stuff that you can actually test for yourself, stuff that you can find does work. It's repeatable, it's verifiable, as you said. Yeah, that's really nice to see when we're at camps and stuff. Each time we go, like, people have changed a little bit and they're a little bit further along in their own journey.
Yeah, it's visible.
So that's the nice thing about seeing people on multiple occasions over periods of time.
Yeah.
sharing just ideas and thoughts and information, and being around people that you can just have an open conversation with, kind of magical.
It is kind of magic, yeah.
Not bigging it up or anything, but it is kind of magical. You know, being out. Oh, I sound like such a I sound like a lunatic that people that live in the mental asylum, you know, like the city that I like to call the mental asylum, those people, a normal way to live, think I'm completely crazy. But I don't think that there's certain things we should have to do, such as go to work Monday to Friday and break your back and have half of it taken off you, and pay for water, for fuck's sake, water, pay for food. You know, we should just be walking around and picking food off. But you know, we shouldn't need shoes.
Yeah, you know you're a slave when you're paying those bills, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, it's like buying car insurance the other day. I was just like, no, I'm just a slave here. I just, you know, had to mix concrete and chop up timbers for fucking how long just to pay for that one piece of paper.
Mm.
You know what I mean? 600 quid. Like, fuck you.
They took my driving license off me because I didn't have insurance.
You know what I mean?
And, yeah, just took it off me. I've never done anything wrong. I'm not injured anyone.
Really? So you have to go and get your test again now?
Fuck that, I've already passed my test. I've already passed the practical exam. I can drive.
Yeah.
So,
but you can't get, can you get it back?
I can get it back, but I have to take the test again, and I'm not willing to do it on principle. But I didn't really commit a crime, because how can buying insurance be the law? You know, I don't have to by law buy house insurance. You know, all based on a what if there's an accident. Well, what if there was no insurance and everyone just paid a bit more fucking attention, because then they're liable for their own actions.
Well, it's just impossible, isn't it? You just...
So yeah, I'm not allowed to drive in the UK, but I did keep my license. They asked for it back, but I thought, no, if you want it, you can come and get it. I like to,
Yeah.
you know, awkward sometimes.
Good for you. Yeah, sorry to hear it. That's, they're slave ships, and they cost a lot of slave chips. You know, and then you're a sitting duck with a number plate going around on roads with cameras. And as a cyclist, you feel a bit more free. In a car, you're just very much a sort of target, really. You know, and you have to follow every single fucking rule and light, and you know, follow the rules, follow the rules, follow the, you know.
Yeah.
But you can't do everything on a bicycle, you know. Not these days. 6 hours in a car, 6 days on a bike. That's basically what it worked out at for me. So,
6 hours on a bicycle, 6 days a week. Yeah,
no, if a journey is 6 hours in a car, it'll be 6 days for me chilling on my bike. So that's quite a lot of planning. You have to get to a weekend, you know, in East Anglia. So
oh yeah,
it'd be a 6-day bike ride to get there. Get to the fuckers meet.
You'd have to set off a week early.
Yeah. No, you know, it'd be nice to get to a point in my life where I could just stop paying all the taxes and stop paying all the slave fees, you know, but it's not, very logistical for me trying to set up all these different things. You kind of need everything to be running.
Yeah.
You're either in or you're out, and to be out is to be like either feral or like some fucking hermit in a cave, like fully out. But once you're in, you know, you kind of need to be fully in and making money and doing all right and having something on and having your friend, you know. Halfway between is a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, it is. That's where I am, halfway between, because it's like
we're all somewhere now.
Yeah. In my mind, I'm just completely free. But I do. Well, I'm not completely free. I do have some fear over some things, and I'll tell you the stuff that scares me in a minute. And it really shouldn't scare any parent. It shouldn't have to scare anybody. But yeah, I'm like halfway out because my children are in school, in the formal education system. Like my eldest son, his educational needs are beyond my capability. But my youngest son, I could really have him at home. But because of when I say peer pressure, I mean like, you know, like a lead weight from family and friends to have your children in school and you're not capable of teaching them anything that they need to know to get on in life. It's not a nice place to be, because I don't like taking them to school every morning. In my 6-year-old class, there's two, not one, there's two globes and an image of a suffering Jesus on a cross. It's like a little trauma centre, you know. Right. And he's dressed up in his little suit like a banker and fucking.
Yeah. Well, I studied education for a long time, and the end of the day, the children just need a safe space to feel all right about themselves and have stuff to do that they're interested in. And if they can develop their skills in a safe place, then they're going to feel better about themselves, and that is the path of education. So it is much better to do it at home as the primary care and parent, because then the child will immediately feel a lot safer than when stuck on their own in a uniform in a primary school with a load of people they don't even know, freaking out most of the day. Actually,
yeah,
a bit.
I see this little girl every morning, traumatized, in tears, sat at her desk and crying and wiping tears, but at the same time trying to do her work as quickly as she can. And she's in my son's class, and every morning is the same. But she's not the only one that's that I can see that doesn't want to be there. You know, more than half the class doesn't really want to be there.
It's fucking insane, Jenny. We've got such a massive ship to turn around in terms of our society's education. It's off the charts. It's so wrong.
Yeah, that's pure child abuse, isn't it?
It is actually child abuse, yeah. There's no doubt about it. And it's specifically creating like the most unsafe space that you could pretend was safe. I mean, children in a tribal level shouldn't be left in large numbers with a small amount of adults. You know, they're unsafe. Like on an open plain in the real world. You don't put like all the children with just a few women and then like everyone goes off into the woods. I don't know. It's like there's more adults than there are children in a normal community. So children shouldn't be concentrated 30 to a class with 1 or 2 adults. That's totally opposite land. creating exactly the most unsafe environment, when the child is actually happy when they feel totally safe, because they are totally vulnerable, because they are a child. So it's psychology programming of the most like well-designed fear programming, basically, and insecurity complex and self-doubt, then authority worship. So it's as fucked up as you want to, you know. The more you understand it, the worse it gets. And the simpler it is in a way to do childcare, if you can do it, if you've got the environment and the children, you know, just make sure they're all right and treat them like a friend. And just, you know, you wouldn't boss your mates around and tell them what to do all day. It's like, you know, if they want to do what they want to do, they do what they want to do. You do what you do. As long as they're safe, they'll basically get on with stuff, you know.
Yeah.
In an environment where there's something nice to do, they like what they're doing, if they're feeling happy, that's all you need, you know. And then they'll actually listen to you if you tell them stuff. Oh, and then they're learning. You know, simple as shit, really. You've got to have the relationship first. They've got to feel embosomed, held, and safe and free. You know, that you let them be themselves, and you don't give them shit, and you know, tell them what to be and how to be. They won't respect you then, because they're actually fully intelligent adults in there as well at the same time. Just thinking, that person's off key, that person's a dick. You know, they're only 2 years old, but they're like, you can see them, they're like, oh no, not vibing there, fuck him off. You can read it all in their body language. So you just got to just be there with them and share in a free open space and a free open world, and then they'll be like, oh, cool, you know, and they'll get on with their work. That's Montessori way, and that's well documented. This is thoroughly scientifically backed up. Might be my spontaneous interpretation of it, but all the literature on the freedom of the child being essential for the development of responsibility, and within a safe space where there's ideally a lot of logical order for them to follow and learn, and everything's set up beautifully, like, but basically it's the psychology's got to be right first, the social safe space and the social environment that they're in.
Yeah.
As soon as you just shout. And the other thing, you don't realise how small and vulnerable they are, and if you're that small and an adult is like literally 4 foot above you, we're all completely intimidating to them. So just crouch down to their level and talk to them, then you're on their level. Like, all right, on a level. Yeah. That's really big, getting down to their height, because then they can relax again. But it's all about that primary sense of, basic sense of trust in the world, that the world is a safe place. Because if you haven't got that, you are doomed. And most people, you know, have had fairly rocky upbringings, where you see parents break down, your parents are broken down, and there's no one to protect you, you're just a tiny child. You know, psychologically, in the real world, you'll meet then on the plane, aren't you? You know, tiger comes along or something. It's like, children get eaten. Look at lambs. You know, everyone eats lamb. It's like, that's what children are, food, unfortunately, in this world. And that's what we're finding in our political research ourselves, obviously on the grimmer side of things. But on the play, safari, we've been watching it our whole life on Attenborough. You know, the children and the weak get picked off first and get eaten. It's just normal. So if you create an education setting where all the children in one place, it's like very few strong adult males around, then that's the least safe psychological environment you can put a child in. Because we've got this concept that everything's safe now because of the state and, you know, the police and everything, and it generally is, or statistically. But psychologically, it's not still, because psychologically the world is still real. It's not a false reality. That's all false reality shit. In the real world, you know, it's always been predators and other tribes, and we've had to defend ourselves. That's how I see it.
How about this then? My son's school, it is on a main road, but you can only go in one entrance unless it's for official business. So if you're dropping your children off, you've got to take them through the back gate, which is on the main road, which is padlocked all day long, padlocked. And in the front entrance, you can only get in via a computer system. So basically, once you've left your child at school, it's in a prison until
They are basically prisons or warehouses. Yeah.
And they eat the dinner.
The architecture of school education buildings is almost identical to prison architecture in many parts of the world. You just look at it, it's like there's the wire mesh, the basketball court, square block buildings, and you know, it's just like this. It's the same.
Yeah, wow, I've never actually noticed that before, but now you've mentioned it, it's so obvious. School, well, I live in quite an old city, but it's part of the cathedral, and it's an old building. And just the other week, I was up looking at the castle, which used to be a prison, and they are so similar. Yeah.
But it's too much for the parents to get their head around because it's too hardcore. But that's the world we just woke up into. That's just the way it is.
What do you think about them being able to...
The only logical solution... Sorry.
Sorry, what was you going to say?
It's all that time delay, isn't it? We both set off and then we hear each other. Yeah. Well, just to, you know, try and like fucking have some hope of solution of what to do about it. If you've just woken up to flat Earth, and obviously your children are in school, and you've got to fucking think about it. It's like, yeah, it is a horrific institution, doing great damage really to their state of mind for no good reason, and it's a terrible shame, you know. And they are getting taught lies, but the logistical solutions are fucking difficult. I know exactly how difficult they are because I've been in alternative education now for years, on and off. And in order for me to get paid any kind of living wage, it costs the parents an arm and a leg already that they just haven't done the maths on, you know, unless they're doing it all themselves. And home ed, just doing it all yourself, it's like really fucking hard work.
Yeah,
you know, whichever way. So it's like, what are you going to do then? I don't know. It's hard.
I don't feel skilled enough to home educate my children. I'll be honest.
Not about that. It's not about that. It's the time.
I grew up in a regular. I've been through that education system myself, and it leaves you pretty much skillless at the end of it.
Danny, so, yeah. You know more than enough to give them a better education than they're going to get there. I'll tell you that straight. You know, what you just said is exactly what school does to people, without any disrespect in the slightest. Because I'm telling you, like, you know enough now about mathematics and perspective and the flat earth on its own, right? It's like, the difficulty is socialization, but there are home ed networks around, and the children don't actually need to be in a group of large numbers of children all day long. They see a few, you know, their peers and have friends, great, of course. But people get over anxious about that. If they're happy, visibly happy, and they're getting on with stuff and they're doing stuff with you, then they're learning through experience. Just get them working, so you're all earning money together as soon as you can.
Yeah, that's one thing I can say. I can't find a photograph anywhere of my children not smiling.
Oh, that's sweet. You know.
And not to.
But like, you know, you want to be in a garden. You need outdoor space, ideally, for all of us at any age. We want to be back in the garden, and then there's always stuff to do, and then there's always work for the children to do. This stuff, you know, you don't expect them to have this sort of glorious, laid out education necessarily. It's real life, isn't it? They're in the same boat as we are, and there's work to be done to keep the farm up, and that's, you know, that's what human culture has always been like. So it's quite easy to find the models really of what to do. It's just our mind and the logistical preparation for that is just, you know, it's like flat Earth. No one's even thought about it before. It's like, oh wait, oh yeah. Actually, if you look at any African culture or Indian culture forever, the children will work in the fields with the mums and the fathers, or whatever. Maybe not the fathers; they'll be sitting back smoking or whatever. But the children will be going with them, and they'll be as skilled as the adults by the time they're 10.
Yeah.
Or earlier, there's no limit on the potential of a child's ability at all, except for the way they're schooled. And if you treat them like children till they're 17, 18, then they'll feel like children till they're 17 or 18, but they're actually equally as intelligent and usually sharper than us at the age of 6. And like children, if you treat them like adults, they'll behave like adults. Simple as that, actually. Just like flat Earth, but it's weird.
Yeah, wow. No, well, you mentioned that, and I remember my mind and the way I used to think, you know, from a very young age, from nursery age, and I've always felt and thought the same way. My internal voice has always been the same. I've always been me.
Yeah.
You know, I might think and learning or whatever, but yeah, you're right.
They're all there, mate. They are all fucking there. They understand every word, and you can use those long words. If you use the long words, they'll start to understand them. If you don't, if you child speak them your whole life, then they'll live in child speak land. If you tell them straight whatever you're saying, like you tell anyone else, they'll be like, all right, cool. You know what we're doing. They're still up for a laugh, and it's all gone in. They're amazing. You know, it's so refreshing to work with. But it's very complicated these days with politics and science and education and the parents' worldviews and my worldviews, and what on earth is anyone, you know, no one really knows what they're doing in education, and no one really knows where they live, you know, no one even knows what's going on today. It's like we're all finding out now, and one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time.
How are you supposed to have an education model, you know? You don't even know, you're still arguing about the shape of the earth.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. But you'd expect the global model to be flawed, and it's worse than flawed. It's actually horrific when you study it psychologically, how well it works to disable us, completely disable us, and just how much potential a human has. It's actually quite obvious, and we've sort of always known that, looking at footage of really skilled and able humans around the world. And it's school, it's done it all, you know, hundreds of years at school.
How important do you think it is to develop or let a child's imagination develop? You know, because and the space agencies and the media, you know, the television and whatnot, I feel like it steals their imagination. Like it only gives them one idea of everything. Like, do you feel like that's what the traditional education system is there for as well?
Well, it's just all of the above, isn't it? Yeah. Stealing their imagination, ruining their self-esteem, never giving them opportunity to really work with their hands or lead their own projects. or spend more than even 55 minutes on anything without a buzzer going, distracting them and sending them off doing something completely different, which means you can never concentrate on doing anything well for more than one little period of time. By the time you get interested in it, you beep off, change lesson, you're off and silent. The school system is like an absolutely ridiculous dystopian horror movie. Every secondary school in the land, and all the children are still going there every single day. It's you know, I walk those corridors as an adult, being a student teacher, and not many adults get a chance to ever go back inside a secondary school on a working day, just to see what it's really like. You know, it's fucking insane. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
no jobs ever that crazy, you know. 1,500 people move in rooms every 55 minutes for like all over this huge campus. So the corridors are steaming, like hundreds and hundreds of uniformed children going in both directions. This happens every hour, you know, for about 2 furious minutes of them all running around to the next fucking lesson down corridors. So if you're just on your own, passing by all of those peers, and you're 12 years old and you're just literally on your own, you're a bit freaked out because your parents have just had an argument or whatever. It's like, it's a dystopian horror movie in terms of how unsafe that environment is. And I was learning about safety as a concept and environment at the same time as I was practicing in that environment. It's like, what you need is settled, few friends, your parents, guardians, and you've got a safe space, a nice garden, you can play with your friends, you know. What you get is 1,600 peers in uniform and piling down corridors, trying to get to a lesson on time. Like this. Fucking hell, man, that would freak you out. You know, because they're really at that age, they're totally vulnerable.
I always remember that being really an intense situation, getting between lessons and getting to the dinner hall. And I used to find it just really frustrating, especially in classes like art, where you only got an hour by the time you've got your pens and pencils out, and you've not even formed the basis of your idea yet. Your lesson's over, and like you say, you've got to march to your next lesson.
It's the complete opposite of the natural, well-known, well-studied, documented natural work cycle of a human being, which is to have the idea and form the concepts and do it and then get into it and work at it, and you spend, you know, a period of time on it and you see it through and then you produce it, and it's a project, you know, and you get into it and then you get new ideas, and that's the way your learning works and your skill development works. And it's precisely the opposite of cutting it every 50 minutes and doing something completely different, where you never get a time to produce your work. So it's systematically disabling your workflow and sense of self and ownership of your work every single moment, every single buzzer, every single lesson. It's such a well-designed system to offer the false facade of an education whilst destroying everyone's possibility.
Yeah, the way that you just described it is kind of the way I understand MK Ultra mind control. So it's kind of a fracturing of the mind constantly, all day, every day, and this constant right, you're never allowed to build these pathways. It's just constantly being you know, halted and moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, so pretty
something like MK Ultra, yeah, something like that. What was that again? Oh yeah. Schoolmate, where you send your little boy child every day. Oh, all right, oh yeah. No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was seeing a bit of primary school these days in my day job, just dropping off and stuff, and everything's so well built into our society now. It's just like, it's incredible, isn't it? You know, I'm reading it like a dystopian horror movie, but everyone there's just chilled out, normal parents. Everyone's friendly. We have a little chat. You know, everything's cool, but it's not at the same time. You know,
No.
and that's what it's all like. Every bit of our lives now, it's like, oh, everything's sort of all right, you know, but it's not.
I actually find the playground traumatic as an adult. You know,
every part of town is like that.
I'm not joking. Yeah, it's really funny, but I am very lucky because I don't work, and I'm a very busy person doing very leisurely things. So,
sounds very human.
The fears I was going to talk about before are actually the schooling system, but also social services. You know, those people that want to help you out so much and get involved in your life. As a parent, those kind of agencies naturally freak you out, because they're looking for wrongdoing, and on paper they can make your life actually sound, you know, like you're mentally abusing a child or something, and you're mentally unstable, and it's as if they've got more power over what happens to your child than you have. So those kind of places I want to stay like as far away from as possible.
Yeah, you know, I think we've all really got to get back out in the countryside at the end of the day, you know. Like, it's hard to see it in the other way. It's not ideal, but, you know, then you're more dependent on motor cars and everything, so there's no easy way, you know. But it's all just really quite mildly horrific for us now, isn't it? You know, now that the veil has been lifted, as they say, and we've really got to rebuild everything from scratch. And to rebuild everything from scratch, you kind of need your own land and your own building and your own education, your own science and your own kitchen, your own garden and everything. Just so you do it our style, you know, relearn how to be a human again. And it's tribal, isn't it? We're all tribal, naturally, communal.
Naturally.
And so, but we're all so screwed up by it all that we can barely even just relate and be responsible enough to wash up after yourself or anything like that. Like, people have a lot of problems, so we've got, like, it's not easy to run any kind of communal shit at the moment. Fucking hell. So it's hard knocks, you know. But it's all about setting up shop. The reggae boys are saying set up shop, innit? Like, we've got to do it ourselves. And fuck it all off, and that is education, yeah. And I'd really warmly say, like, to every parent that even knows anything, you already know more than what they're going to learn at school. You know, if you can read the newspaper and you can write a letter and an email, then you can teach anything that you know. Theoretically, you can show a child how to do. Anything you don't know, you can look up together on Google and learn together. You know, we've all got research skills. We've got all the information and resource you need. And then, you know, you can just get into interior design and decorate the house and make pyramids and stuff. It's like, children can learn as much as we can tomorrow on Google. They only need the safe space and a chilled vibe and a happy, like, something's going on, like, you know, and they can do what they want to do. It's not actually rocket science, it's just tribalism.
No, it's not. But that sounds really hopeful, because a lot of what you just mentioned there is achievable, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
When you put
It is.
you know,
Basically, like, bring a child home and treat them like your mate and fucking do it all together. And stop pretending that you're different and you have to put on a show for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I hate that.
Teacher. It's bollocks, it's all bollocks. We're all slaves, you know. They've probably got papers just like we have. Just tell them that. And they'll listen, they'll do you if you're sound of them. You know, in whatever way you want, be as diplomatic as you like. And just say we need to work together to earn our money. Tell them what economics is, paying the bills. We need to earn the money together, kids. What we're going to do, you know, we can hang out this much and we can go to the park, but we're actually together, we're a team, you know. And anything you can do, they can learn. And anything you can do to earn money, they can do to earn money, theoretically. Or at least help you out. And then you all get to share the good times.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've lost over the years is passing on our skills to our children. You know, we've just handed them over to the government, who are so trustworthy, and let them bring our children up. Yeah, it's time to take back control of our own lives, I feel.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then that obviously becomes a huge part of learning for each one of us, really, because you realise that they're absorbed in mind. And they will indeed soak up and become as of you, as the adult in their space, their guardian, their one link to safety in an unsafe world, otherwise unprotected. So you are like everything then to them, and we have to come to terms with that and realise that it's all about meditation and just being chilled and, you know, getting on with a plan. But you know, it's like, it sounds like double Dutch to most people, this really.
Yeah.
You know, it's a flat earth logic to me.
I was going to say, every time you've never had any shoes on. But why is that? Because some people, you know, might not understand the relevance of not wearing shoes and how important it might be.
Yeah, it's a really good free health boost that people have been shooed away from.
Excellent. Shoot away from.
And they're actually crippling their feet. And I almost made a video. I never quite finished it. It's one of the things I wanted to talk about, actually. My theorization that they know exactly what they're doing. So shoes is basically a physiological operation. Just like there's been so many psychological operations on humanity, there's also been what you could just call physiological operations on humanity, such as a Western diet and chemtrails, you know, if they're breathing that, and then shoes, in fact, crippling the whole body map by crushing the little toes under each other. Because the feet are like a perfect map of all the organs. And so any bit of it's crippled and folded under, you're going to be off balance. And boom. And then you're not grounded because you're on a rubber sole above. So you're not getting any of the Schumann frequency resonance pattern of Earth, which we're designed to fucking live in harmony with. And that's what electricity maybe just is basically just a resonance. But
what are some of the health benefits about yourself from not wearing any shoes, from walking on the air?
I feel like a direct energy coming out of the earth in effective terms on the body, or a connection to a charge or something, especially when it's very wet and it's very muddy, and or specifically in a stream or in water, the sea. I did a lot of meditation in my early 20s and years, just feeling subtle sensations on the body for 10 days at a time in silence. So I like feeling the subtle sensations on the body. I still do. It's just nice. It's a nice thing to sort of focus on. And I've been walking in the woods sometimes on the wet earth, and there's been like ding, 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 like there's something coming up. There's an energy there. And they call it negative ions, supposedly coming through the earth. David Wolf in his health seminars, and it's all about the ions. And I think that might be a hoaxy. And it's actually just resonant frequencies that you can pick. You're just tuning into harmonizing with resonant frequencies. And that effectively feels like an energy exchange, but it's all conceptual, obviously, but something going on. You don't know how much science has just invented stories for us, though. Yeah.
No, but I have heard people say to me that it's improved things like problems with the joints in the knees, or back problems even.
Definitely.
Therefore,
Oh yeah.
Has helped them heal a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So there must be something to it, you know.
Yeah. Well, there's supposed to be a set frequency for the resonance of Earth and the resonance of the heart. It's supposed to be the same. I heard that. I don't know how they quite measure it. But if it's the same frequency, if we're basically vibing at the same water frequency, energy, map, matrix, whatever the human body is, and that harmonizes with the earth, then we get just a reinforcement of the energy we need, the resonant frequency we need specifically. And if we're in a world of electromagnetic frequencies, that connection to our home frequency could be really more vital than we think. Yeah. So I've got, like, for example, this earth wire plugged in now. I just made this, and I just took it out to show you, but it's wrapped around my bare foot. And I just plug into the earth there, and then I'm connected through a copper crystal to the resonant frequency of the earth. That's how I comprehend it at the moment. Because that wire goes to the ground outside the house. And then I'm different steps and more chill out. But it could be negative ions, as they say, is what's coming up through the wire, or it could just be a frequency of. But if you know, like, when a dong's going and it's just carrying on ringing, and then you just touch it and it stops, you know, there's a big difference between when something's resonating or it's not, you know. And rubber shoes and plastic drawers, you just don't get that connection to the resonance. It's interesting.
No. And then, of course, we're all living in these little boxes. All up.
Sure.
It's not as bad now that I'm back in England, because and you do tend to see neighbours a bit more and say hello and stuff. But when people are all living in apartment blocks on top of each other, and they're in these little boxes and they're completely disconnected from nature in these cities, it must cause some kind of mental distress that they're not able to recognise, because they don't know what the problem is.
Where do you even
that's how it makes me feel, like societies, and it's creating, because personally I don't believe in mental health issues. Right? Now, I'm not saying that people don't get mentally ill. What I'm saying is that person that's being diagnosed as bipolar is not bipolar. What it is we're living in such an unnatural way that it's causing an imbalance between your spirit and your mind, because you've been told one thing, but your spirit's really feeling something else. And so then it creates this imbalance. And so then you go to the doctor and they say, you're mentally ill, take these tablets. So that's another way of just disconnecting us from the natural energy source, was my point, is having us living this way in cities and towns and not on the land.
Spellcraft, isn't it? You know, with especially with the labelling of mental health diseases, couldn't be a better description of spellcraft, because you just create a word and a symbol and it creates an effect on the human psyche. And no one actually knows what's really going on. The hard science doesn't matter. You just tell someone they got something, and the effect has been had. You know, the spell's been put on them. Oh, now they are fucking bipolar. Now they are this. You know, spelled. Boom. And then they take the drugs, and you know you got your little, you got them under your spell.
Frontal lobe lobotomy. So. Yeah, there's well, we're talking about drugs. I'll go back to schools, because I was just sent a letter last week saying that the nasal flu vaccine is coming soon, and they wanted my consent, which they didn't get. And they sent me a letter asking for his doctor and his medical records, which they also didn't get. But I'm not keeping them from them. He's just never been to see a doctor, and he's never registered with a doctor. He's just a healthy little boy. And I don't need someone to tell me that he's an inch shorter, you know, than he should be, or whatever. You know, I can see that for myself. And if he's struggling with something, I can see that for myself also. So, weird. They think that they've got the right to ask for all this personal information about you, and then give your child medical intervention in a school setting.
Yeah, well, we know the answers.
Okay. Found this leaflet, nowhere near the school, by the way. I don't remember where I put it now. Basically, was telling you they don't even know what type of flu strain it's going to be this year, so how effective it's going to be, and of the vaccinated child passing flu, you know, probably safer to keep the child home for at least 3 days after nasal. So
Yeah. The audio is cutting out. The audio is cutting out a bit at your end, Sonny. But
the audio is cutting out, is it?
yeah, a little bit. It's coming through in bits and bobs. So I did hear most of that, and it sounds perfectly horrific. Having to deal with a school vaccination program in the flesh. But such is the way of life. You just got to surf those waves.
I just wonder what it's programming us for, you know, like letting a stranger like someone at the bus stop just injects you with something, so someone, you know, in a school just inject you with something. It's like, or inject your child with something.
Mm.
It's,
Yeah, well, that's why the distilled.
it's the same when I'm thinking.
Oh, the audio's getting really bad, Zanny.
Is it? Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
To
Well, I was just going to say the distilled water story is why I feel a lot of people think it's still a major story, because it's really the only thing, the only 4 fluids that will detox all those vaccines out. You can't stop distilled water from sucking poisons out of the body. That's what it will always do. It's charged like that. And same with urine and fresh fruit juices. So that's maybe the only key, that we've got to detox all of that crap back out, because we've mostly all been vaccinated and drunk all the tap water and the chemtrails all our life. So it's all going to be lodged in there. And it's got to be dug out one bit at a time by the body's own cells and stuff. So it's pretty deep ops, but it makes that story like a real humdinger in the medical mafia world. And Andrew got properly spooked, Andrew Norton Webber, by people turning up at his door and told us all about it. So it's a weird one. It's weird, but the world is that crazy at the moment, isn't it? Who saw any of this coming? None of us saw it coming. Flat Earth, you got to be joking. Urine therapy, you got to be fucking joking. Like, really? But yeah, it's all real, as far as I know. Everything I've ever fucking more or less said about it, and it's sort of like, yeah, that's how it looks, that's how it feels, that's what I said, and so I still feel the same way. It looks like that, it's real. It works,
So Andrew Webber then was actually basically told to be quiet.
Yeah.
What he was teaching about drinking urine.
Gaia TV it was as well, that came up to him, offered him a TV deal that in legalese and lawyer speak is like shutting him up for the rest of his life, so he didn't sign it. But it just didn't help him to start thinking that all his mates were shills when they went flat Earth. It still really cuts me up, because I love the guy so much. He thought flat Earth would die up to get his story, and it was fucking hilarious. It's not hilarious, it's tragic, but it's just the way
it is. So much paranoia in him that he didn't know which way.
Fear of God into him, no doubt. Fear of the devil, sure thing. And I don't blame the man for just wanting to chill out, get on with reading his books. He's said what he had to say. He's told everyone, so I'm just sure he's going to find out the Earth's flat at some point. He's got to, you can't not see it. But anyway, I got to sign out of it soon, Zanny.
You do?
It's getting a bit late.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what then.
No, just a 5 or 10 minute warning. If there's anything else to use.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I put on the title Jonny Gold Beard, but it should be Jonny Gold Beard, so I'll change that.
Yeah, and there's no H in there.
Oh.
Oh no, I didn't put any symbolism into it that I know of. It's random coincidence. There might be a triangle in there.
I'm sure I've already heard you mention the word pyramid once anyway, so.
Well, they work in all the theories on flat Earth, don't they? And those resonant chambers, they create a good resonance. Everything's resonating.
Yeah, it's weird when you feel it.
Yeah.
I've been on Urine Therapy for about 3 weeks now, and I've taken up running.
Oh, yeah, good combo.
I've actually put on weight, which is amazing because I'm usually looking like Skeletor, but it's like regulated my weight, if you would.
Yeah.
And you know, when I wake up in the morning, I'm awake. I'm like, it doesn't take me 3 hours to get out of bed anymore.
It's amazing, Zanny. It's just, there's no bank of testimonials and anecdotes that you can look at that live up to the urine therapy anecdotes in terms of what people actually say with their own experience and their own lives. And that testimony from you there will just go on a long list of incredible things that people say in very short times is what happens to them. All kinds of health sprouts out of them, and it's fucking insane.
It's like an antidepressant also. I'm constantly happy and full of energy. A complete contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's just so easy to use in and amongst any other habit you've got. It actually creates the antidotes to the poisons you're taking and gives you loads of good stuff straight back. And so it just makes a match with everything. Just enjoy it, have it. It's amazing. It's an absolutely ridiculous story, really, but it's true.
Yes, believe me, I mean,
But seriously, the anecdotes I've heard over the years, people's back pains for 20 years getting better, and even with the distilled water as well, people just using the machine. They didn't drink their wee, they just got one of the machines and started making their tea and daily drinks out of that and cooking in it. And their back pains have gone away and their things have got better and stuff that hasn't healed for years. And I was like, fuck, man, yeah, it just works, you know. Just like Andrew was saying all along. Every antidote you get, it works. And it's quantity, you just drink enough and it'll suck more poisons out. It'll work. Fucking nuts.
it is. That'll be why to collect rainwater in some places in America, you know.
Yeah, well, they haven't told us how clean it is, so no one knows what they're missing. Fucking nuts.
It's gone through its own distilling system. And then come back down to us. It's like we're supposed to have it. It rains on us.
Yeah, well, you've got to look at that in a flat earth perspective as well these days. So we don't actually know any of those stories are legit anymore. Could be coming from the heavens above, and water could be coming from the waters below, and there could be waters above, and we don't even know. I don't personally know whether any of the stories they told me are real, so I couldn't tell you it's hydrogen or not. It's just water. Water is water, and you know, it's weird. You go with a standard model to describing everything, but none of it's based on any pictures you can really see for yourself. Just cartoons. Or ever look for vitamins and minerals and stuff, and what you can see, it's just cartoons.
Believe in atoms and neutrons and electrons.
Yeah, neutrons, electrons, it's just cartoons is what you get. Pictures, long words, books. Great.
I think the only thing that I believe in is like a cause and effect. Like,
yeah. Life spirit. It seems to be real.
do you know how many people will be screaming hearing me say there's no such thing as an atom? Show me an atom.
Well, it is actually a theory, then that's a fact that it's a theory. If you look it up on Wikipedia, atomic theory, it's not photographically proven. You can't get a photograph of that. It's a theory.
Just
So,
the same as you can't see inside a living cell, Once you remove the cell from whatever it is you're looking at, like an onion or whatever, that cell's dead.
yeah, but you can see living cells with dark field microscopy.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, and you can see the parasites swimming around alongside them as well. And yeah.
Cool. What's that technique?
Dark field, it's called. Microscopy. Microscopy. I don't know how they pronounce that word, but. And there's a huge campaign against people using those instruments, very visible straight away, because they show the blood as it is. And alternative health practitioners use it, and they're really like attacking them really, really hard and trying to put them out of practice for using it and saying they're all sham artists, and because it puts the power back in the hands of the practitioner and the client. They can see the health get better for themselves by looking at the blood quality improving when they detox and clean their body up. So it makes it very obvious, and it is a very obvious story, health, in my eyes, in those terms. They don't want people looking at that shit, but it is there on YouTube.
Yes. See, do you know, that's one thing I love about the day. In you.
It's been a pleasure to hang out in true Google Hangout style. But I'm a bit upset that I'm not going to Derby tomorrow with your.
Yeah.
But I'm dealing with it.
Get over it.
I'll get over
it.
Take it on the chest like a man.
Yeah, that's it. Just do some sun gazing, you'll be fine.
Connect with you through the sun rays.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll let you go. Thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully I'll take it easy. I think once I hang up, that's us gone, so I say good night.
Yeah, no, it's just I was listening there, but I couldn't hear the audio again because it was cutting out, so I couldn't hear what you were saying. All of it. But most of the time I have heard you tonight, just with the delay. And thank you for inviting me on. It's been really nice just to hang out and get to know you a bit better. And the Fuga's crew. So thanks for all your work, and have a great time at Derby.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, good night.
Good night.